What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Kyle on the Call Sports. I'm Kyle Russo. On today's show, what I want to talk about is how the return of NBA All-Star Kevin Durant not only makes the Phoenix Suns favorites to reach the NBA Finals, but in my opinion, favorites to win the NBA championship. But before we get started, make sure to like this video and make sure to leave a comment down below. And of course, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Kyle on the Call Sports. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Kevin Durant will make his return to the starting lineup for the Phoenix Suns against the Minnesota Timberwolves after missing the last 10 games due to an ankle injury that he suffered on March 8th. Kevin Durant and TJ Warren were acquired by the Suns back in February in a trade that sent Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson, along with a multitude of picks, to the Brooklyn Nets. Since being acquired by the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant has only played in 3 games for the Suns. We all know when Kevin Durant is healthy, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And even though he's missed a lot of time this year, in 42 games, he's averaged 29 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, shooting almost 57% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, and 93% from the free throw line. Standing at almost 7 feet tall, combined with his skill set, Kevin Durant is one of the most dominant players in the NBA. When this trade first happened, in a lot of people's minds, this trade made the Suns one of the favorites in the NBA to reach the NBA Finals and one of the favorites to win the NBA championship. But obviously, under a very small sample size, in which I just talked about, only playing 3 games for the Phoenix Suns, those conversations stopped happening, obviously due to the fact that nobody knew when Kevin Durant was going to return. But now with Kevin Durant's return for the Phoenix Suns, we now must ask ourselves this question. Are the Phoenix Suns the favorites to win the NBA championship if Kevin Durant stays healthy? And in my opinion, the answer is yes. I think the Phoenix Suns are the favorites to win the NBA championship. When we look at this Phoenix Suns team, obviously in the trade that acquired Kevin Durant, the Suns gave up 2 very good young players in Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson. But when you have the opportunity to bring a player of Kevin Durant's caliber onto your team, you absolutely must do that, especially if you're the Phoenix Suns, who were just appearing in an NBA Finals just a couple years ago, where they would lose to the Milwaukee Bucks. Why I say this is because I believe the Phoenix Suns are a win-now team. Now, granted, Devin Booker is a very young player along with DeAndre Ayton, but Chris Paul being 37 years old, the window of opportunity to win with him as your starting point guard on this team is closing. And now the Phoenix Suns, in acquiring Kevin Durant, get to feature a lineup that has Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Kevin Durant. In talking about these players individually, Devin Booker is one of the young superstars in the NBA. He's averaging 28 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game. And when we talk about DeAndre Ayton, he may not be the best all-around center in the NBA like a Joel Embiid or a Nikola Jokic, but he still averages 18 points per game and 10 rebounds. And then, of course, Chris Paul. Again, even at the age of 37 years old, he only averages 13 points per game, but he's top 5 in assists per game this year, averaging 9 assists per game, and still one of the most talented passers and defensive point guards in the NBA. Now, when we talk about the Phoenix Suns as a team prior to acquiring Kevin Durant, they were a team that was struggling. In fact, from December 2nd to January 16th, the Phoenix Suns had a record of 6-18, which is terrible. But what needs to be taken into account is when we look at those 3 players like Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker, one thing that they've all dealt with this season is they've all dealt with injuries. And they've all missed a lot of games, especially Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Devin Booker has only played in 48 games this year out of the 75 that the Phoenix Suns have played. Chris Paul has only played in 54 games this year out of the 75 that the Phoenix Suns have played. And DeAndre Ayton has only played in 62 games out of the 75 that the Phoenix Suns have played this year. So 3 of their star players have each missed significant time this season. At this point in time, the Phoenix Suns hold the 4th seed in the Western Conference. They're 5 games back of 3rd place, and they're half a game in front of 5th place. Now, obviously, it would take a lot for the Phoenix Suns to pass teams like Memphis and Sacramento and Denver, but it's safe to say that the Phoenix Suns will be making the playoffs, and they will be making a tremendous playoff push. But that all lies in the hands of Kevin Durant's health. But in talking about the excellence of how Devin Booker has played this year, how great DeAndre Ayton has been this year, averaging a double double, and once again, even at the age of 37, Chris Paul's still contributing at a very high level. And that's not even getting into the depth that this team has, like TJ Warren, Josh Okogie, Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet, Terrence Ross, Torrey Craig, Bismack Biyombo, Damian Lee. The list goes on and on. And did I forget to mention? The Phoenix Suns also have Monty Williams as their head coach, who's been one of the best head coaches in the NBA the last couple of years. In fact, in the 2021-2022 season, Monty Williams won Head Coach of the Year. They may be one of the deepest teams in the NBA. And all around, they might have one of the best teams in the NBA. Now, if we look at the history of Kevin Durant, especially these last few years, health has definitely been a concern. And that's why there's so much magnitude in this question. If Kevin Durant is healthy, without a doubt, in my mind, the Phoenix Suns are the favorites to reach the finals. And in my mind, the favorites to win the NBA championship. But health has been a question. Going all the way back to 2019, tearing his ACL in the NBA Finals against the Toronto Raptors, missing all of 2020 with that torn ACL, obviously missing time this year with Brooklyn prior to being traded, and even after being traded to the Phoenix Suns, missing 10 games with the Suns, in which during that time they had a record of 4-6, but now returning back to the Suns lineup with about a week or so left in the season before the playoffs begin. We've talked about the player that Kevin Durant is, averaging 29 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, shooting 57% from the field, 38% from three, and 93% from the free throw line. And you combine that with a player of Devin Booker's caliber, Chris Paul's caliber, and DeAndre Ayton's caliber. And this was already a team that without Kevin Durant, just 2 years ago, they were in the NBA Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks, where they would lose in 6 games. This team will be scary in the playoffs. But once again, it all lies in the hands of Kevin Durant's health. No matter how many good teams there are in the Western Conference, like Golden State, like Denver, like Memphis, like the Clippers, like the Lakers, like Sacramento, if Kevin Durant stays healthy, the Phoenix Suns are not only going to the NBA Finals, but they are winning the NBA championship. That is my prediction. But that'll do it here for me today on Kyle on the Call Sports. I'm Kyle Russo. Are the Phoenix Suns favorites to win the NBA championship if Kevin Durant stays healthy? My answer is yes. Make sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to like this video. And of course, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Kyle on the Call Sports. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.